Hi, my name is Jabran, and welcome to Unlisted. Uh, we've been talking about the unusual stuff, and we've made a few videos so far. Videos that we've talked about the unseen world, things that are strange, or maybe strange to us, or maybe strange to some people. Sam, we have him here. We always bother him and we ask for his time. But
I love
truth be
it.
told, yeah, well, truth be told, these conversations are quite exciting, and it's a pleasure to have you, Sam. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm well, Gibran. Hope you're well too.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Um, so Sam, we've been talking about all these things, and every time we speak about it, and there is always a reference that comes up, which is chakras and how through the chakras we define the inside and the outside universe and and the relationship basically between them. And we decided the last time that we'll speak about the chakras and define them, so this can be used as a language. So once people know this language, or then it's easy to understand what we're talking about, and they can quickly refer back to it. So in lieu of that, why don't you take us through uh, the chakras, and how do we look at them, and what do we understand from them in order to get into this spiritual aspect?
Right. Excellent. I'd like to do that, and I'd also like to do, what our title promises, have a discussion on whether we are co-creators of the universe. Are we participating in the very act of creation and life unfolding, right? So, sorry, I keep referring to the chakras in every discussion because that's the foundation for my spirituality, and that's what I use for healing. Um, so, are the chakras real or not? It's a separate debate. We can feel them. Eventually, people
Hmm.
can feel their own chakras. So there must be something there, right? But you said a great thing there, Jabran, that it's part of our vocabulary to demystify the universe even a little bit.
Hmm.
We need to turn to the language of the chakras. Unseen, for sure, not
Hmm.
necessarily visible, at least not to me. There are people who claim they can see chakras. I can't. But perceptible. We can feel them, we can manipulate them, we can use them. So, a basic understanding of cosmology, perhaps is the word,
Hmm.
in reference to chakras, is a good discussion to have. So, in the last video, for example, I said, let's pretend that God is entering from here, and life is bursting forth down here
Okay.
and entering from the crown chakra, and then so then things are being projected out of our body from every chakra and creating our audiovisual experience,
Right.
sensory experience, also the intuitive experience, the abstract experience,
Hmm.
that it's being projected outwards from our own bodies, right? So I said that I think man is at the center of the universe. And what we are experiencing out there, what we call the universe, is a reflection from inside us. So, yes, we have dedicated our lives to studying whatever is going on the outside,
Right.
but it's worth it to have a discussion on the inside principles also. Um, you know, so what do you think, Jabran? I hope.
Well,
Uh,
I'm curious, but if this idea was not valid, we wouldn't be having a conversation about it. So I know this concept exists, and there is a very strong correlation between the universe inside us and the universe outside us. Um,
yes.
just because it is not visible, or it does not feed information to our preliminarily talking about our primary five senses, so we're not able to
Hmm.
visually experience that connection unless there's a string that connects to the other, right? So
That's right.
a lot of things stay in abstraction. But this is where you come in, and you, if you can try to somewhat demystify, and also tell us how we can understand, or actually how to reason to understand that there may be a correlation. But before we get into that, what's important is that you are able to define the seven chakras, and maybe that itself would be the first step of demystification, or actually understanding this whole concept.
Yes, but I'm going to keep it a bit simple, right?
Okay.
I'll give you an introduction to each chakra and its nature and the role it plays.
That's fair.
So it would be nice to start with the Earth chakra, the chakra we are most familiar with. It's a chakra which is at the end of our spine, between the genitals and the anus. The last place on the spine
I put up
is
a
where the earth chakra.
Yeah, so I put up an image as well, so people can see the seven colored dots on the visual.
Awesome. Awesome.
So the one that is
So it's
red
the red one.
is the red one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the earth chakra. And when we talk about pre-modern sciences or all traditional sciences, we talk about the entire universe being composed of the five elements. The five elements being earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So this is the earth part of that equation, right? So anything to do with the earth chakra or the earth element has a form. It is solid normally, and we can see it, we can touch it, we can experience it. So our five senses really help us navigate in the world of 3D forms,
Right.
in terms of walking and avoiding bumping into things and whatnot. So this is the last chakra in the body, which touches the earth. And when I say it touches the earth, I mean that in all traditional cultures, it is considered important to place this chakra on the earth, to sit on the ground, to sleep on the ground. The extension of this chakra are your two legs. So even if you walk barefoot on the earth, you are feeding this chakra, the source being the earth. And you are also sending messages to the earth through your feet. So it's a two-way exchange. If a chakra gets blocked, any chakra, then you suffer a disorder, not just a physical disorder or a health disorder, but you also experience a spiritual disorder, in the sense that you are not able to experience the universe the way it is meant to be. So it leads to misunderstandings. So we live on the earth, we stay connected to the earth. There is some sort of an electromagnetic exchange between this chakra and the earth.
Right.
And that, so whatever we are experiencing, the particular energy form we are experiencing from the earth, also becomes food for the earth chakra and keeps us in good shape. So, the earth chakra is dealing with the material world. And what do I mean by the material world? I had to go back and do a little bit of homework. I don't want to make a fool of myself, because at the end of the day, I'm not a scientist, right? So I picked a particular material which may illustrate what I'm talking about. Wood is primarily carbon. Coal is carbon. Diamonds are carbon. Certain rocks are primarily carbon. Most of our molecular structure within the human body or animals or plants is carbon based.
Right.
So for the earth chakra, the earth chakra is experiencing carbon. It's experiencing carbon in its manifest form. So for the earth chakra, the material, the form that it is experiencing, um, can be reduced down to the elements, right?
Right.
So then it becomes, when you translate that into spirituality or psychology, it if you reduce a human being to just the material experience, that's what's happening in the earth chakra. Even though carbon exists in so many forms, we are only interested in its surface experiences in this chakra. So sometimes this is also called the caveman chakra. I remember you mentioned
Yeah.
cavemen in a previous video.
Yes.
Uh, so this chakra wants us to eat food, not to go hungry. It wants us to have shelter. It wants us to have sex, uh, as a form of self-preservation of the group. It wants us to have um, it wants us to be the top dog in any given social order.
Right.
So it's caveman behavior, right? Food, shelter, sex, and then each chakra also has its disorders.
So
For
before
example,
we get into this disorders, let me just ask you this quickly. Is this the chakra which is responsible or controls or represents the human existence? Because it seems very primitive. It seems very something to do with survival elements, which is food, shelter, and sex. And these things are not, how do you say it, they are a part of your intuitive native uh, element. These are the things which does not requires consciousness. So if I talk about a child, it does not has a developed consciousness, and talking about an infant specifically, but it cries when it's hungry, it feels pain, it cries. So it's not conscious informative information that your brain processes at that point. We are born with this. How do you connect all of this?
yes, I think you're right. This chakra controls our primordial instincts of survival, right? And of being the top dog, and of, uh, you know, our sexuality. Or so I agree with you. This is the primordial chakra, and this is what makes us an animal, the human as an animal. This also places us firmly on the earth in terms of uh, the material world. So this chakra. mm I was talking about its disorders. Every
Correct.
chakra has a disorder. So if a chakra is open, again, symbolic language, not to be taken literally, but we are developing a vocabulary to talk about the human experience through the chakras. So if this chakra is open, then your relationship with the universe becomes very interesting. You think you are here having an adventure. You don't take it too
Right.
seriously. You're here for a roller coaster ride. You're having fun. It's all exciting and it's lovely. Um, and you don't mind the ups and downs, right? You learn to enjoy the ride, basically. But if this chakra is closed, then something terrible happens. You think that the universe is a hostile place.
Oh.
Everybody and everything is out to get you, you know, and your reaction to life and the universe is primarily based on fear then. And this fear overtakes all other spiritual aspects of your beings. You're really scared to be here. You think it's a bad place, and your life experience changes drastically.
Right.
To keep this chakra open, right? So you can see how important it is to keep this chakra open at all times. to keep this chakra open, you need to have a spiritual bond with the earth. Hence, sitting on the earth, walking barefoot on the earth, sleeping on the earth, because that establishes a relationship that you are the earth will the earth is kind of like your mother. The earth will take care of you for as long as you're here. You will have a good time. The caveman denies the imminence of death, for example. So death is an issue in this chakra. It generates fear in the body the minute you think about death. So this is your basic interaction, right?
Right.
I'll have to talk a little bit about the chakra above this to further explain this chakra, which is the water chakra. And that is orange on our chart, right? On the image that you're showing. It's the orange chakra. And it's
Right.
kind of situated at the pubic bone area. So we will have a longer discussion on the water chakra when we are there, but it's important to remember that the water element of the universe, or water itself in the human body, represents emotions. In fact, emotional memories. So, because we also have this emotional nature, the human being, our experience or understanding of the material changes. So instead of saying, here is a pile of carbon, we will say, no, this is a pile of wood or a table or furniture. So that is our emotional reaction to the material world, right? And man is kind of stuck between the earth and the water chakra. And that's where the five senses come in also. They are sort of placed between the two, mostly towards the earth chakra. But there is no human experience, without some kind of emotional understanding of it. So the water chakra and the earth chakra together create the human form. And many religious texts talk about man being made of clay, not just
Right.
mud, not just earth. It's a mixture of that water and earth,
That is.
and it's the important. Yes.
No, go on.
So it's a mixture of those two, and bang in the middle of that is your sexuality, right? Your genitalia is between the earth chakra and the water chakra, and so that's the but now when we talk about the emotional nature of the water chakra, the same caveman phenomena shifts a little bit. The cave becomes a house, and a house has emotional connotations, psychological connotations for us. It's no longer just shelter, but it's also comfort, aesthetics. Sex turns into a relationship. And we build really complex relationships on the planet as to who can have sex with whom and what happens to the kids and so on and so forth. And then food also is no longer just carbon-based consumption or material consumption. It turns into cuisine. It turns into traditions. It turns into social markers. So the emotional starts taking over the material, or the material is interlinked with the emotional. And then your social position, you no longer have to be the he-man. You can say, I'm an intellectual person and I have my own place in society, rather than being the best hunter in the group. And so you start understanding your existence in other ways.
Right.
Then so all of this and your sense of well-being, are you thriving? Are you doing well? Are you So that's also, of course, determined by your emotional response to the universe. So these two chakras are interconnected in this way, and they create the foundation of the human experience. But Gibran, we are much more than that, right? There's still five more chakras to talk about. And that's where the problem begins. If we reduce the equation to only these two chakras, we're making a mistake.
I completely agree with you. You see, from how I'm looking at it, the first chakra constitutes the main existence, and the second chakra, the gap. The essentially what the second chakra denotes is all of a sudden from very basic to a very higher level. And I wonder by the time you get to the seventh in this hierarchy, what happens there? So it's not like
Yes,
there's a
how
slight
things change,
shift.
right?
It is quite a big change from first to the second chakra, and what it does and what it represents, and the impacts on man himself. So I completely
Absolutely.
understand what you're saying.
Absolutely.
We still
So-
go on, please.
no, no, please go on.
So we still have a long way in this hierarchy to get to the seventh chakra and see. So I just have this feeling that I wanted to share that just with this little progression, I feel that by the time we get to a higher chakra, the expansion of mind itself is going to be enormous. Somehow I feel that
Absolutely.
my life that we are living today is just so limited to the first and the second chakra, and I've not been able to tap into the things that I constitute in my higher level of chakras, probably the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. That's what it seems to me. Am I reducing myself to it is going to be a question for later.
When you and I are reducing it, we are lay people, right? It's less harmful, but when a scientist is doing it and they're making a statement on the universe, then it's very problematic to me. We have to talk about the entire spectrum of the human to have any sensible discussion about life or the universe. And so, but most of us reduce ourselves to these two chakras or these two elements because they are the most interactive ones. You know, we can see solid matter all around us, and we can experience liquids and water in all their forms. So, Gibran, also emotionally, solid things are solid, right? Just like our needs are solid. I need food.
Right.
It's a solid thing. And then water is an emotional roller coaster, but we can still experience it visually. We can touch it, swim in the ocean or whatever. So these two are the foundation for the human experience, and these are the two chakras which I was telling you that the jinns don't have,
I was about to
and the
ask you.
jinns don't. Yeah, you remember that
Yeah.
part?
These are exactly the two which they don't have and which they are curious or probably want to experience.
That's right, and that's why possession takes place, and they want to explore the water chakra and the earth chakra. The jinns are made of fire, meaning that they end at the fire chakra, the
which
chakra
is which
above
is the
the
above
lotus.
this one. Okay, for those people
Yeah.
who are watching this stream and may not know what this discussion is entails, is we did a video with Sam earlier about the unseen world, and the term we used was jinns. So you can go watch that video, and Sam clearly identified that in a very basic sense, how do we distinguish between or the difference between man or human versus a jinn or these unseen beings, which could include devils and spirits. So this is what the conversation is about, based on the 7 chakras in humans. Comparatively, jinns or these spirits have 5. And then what's the story between the difference, and what does the first and the second chakra do? I mean, these are just dots on the table, and I'm sure people who've been following us would now understand the entire spectrum of it. Sam, please continue.
So the water chakra, the emotions, yeah, they so what basically happens is that our cells are carbon based from the earth chakra, and they trap water. Now I'm generalizing. I'm just creating a vocabulary for us to talk about how
Absolutely.
things operate in the future. So, the earth container contains the water part, and this water part is so when it's embedded in every cell of the body, it becomes our emotional memory.
Right.
For example, if you're a young child and a dog attacked you, and you got really, really scared, that memory, that reaction will get stored in every cell of your body.
Correct.
And unless and until you have multiple experiences in which dogs are not attacking you, and you can see how cute they can be or how loving they can be, that memory will remain trapped. Uh, so the water element, so that's why we drink a lot of water and we regularly flush it out, so we can have a, a, a new set of emotions or unique emotions as life unfolds to each given situation, rather than being stuck with the emotions from way back there. Um, so each chakra is also connected to our organs, particular organs.
Right.
For example, the earth chakra is connected to the kidneys and the bladder, right? Um, so the kidneys are responsible for releasing adrenaline, the hormone which we
Right.
secrete when we are panicking or when we think the end of the world is coming. So this chakra is controlling our fear-based emotions. The water chakra, and of course, each chakra is connected to multiple organs. The earth chakra is also connected to your legs and the rectum and the colon and so on and so forth, and the bladder. Now, the water chakra, this is very interesting for me, because it will start. It will help us understand the difference between men and women. The water chakra is the only place where men and women differ vastly.
I see.
So the water chakra, yeah. So the water chakra in men is connected to the testicles, and in women it is connected to the ovaries.
Right.
The ultimate emotion, the ultimate emotion for the human body is joy. And a lack
True.
of joy can destroy somebody's life, right? And joy is not an innocent word, Gibran. Joy means enjoying every second of life, the good and the bad, having the energy to laugh at things that we don't like, to remember that they will pass, and to turn our attention to some other part which we are enjoying still, right? So that's the power of joy. And men derive their joy from their testicles and women from their ovaries. Now, you can clearly see that we have very different emotional connectors to the world. Um, Male sexual behavior, or whatever men derive pleasure from on the earth, is very different from the ovaries. Um, there are multiple other organs also associated with the water chakra. It's not just the testicles and ovaries. Part of your intestinal tracts and so on and so forth. But when we pretend that men and women are identical, this is the chakra which says no, they're not. They're not. They're identical, all the way down till the sun chakra, but then this chakra shows up, right? And anyway, I don't know if you have any reaction to this so far?
I I have so many questions, and this is so fascinating and mind blowing, and I am able to actually see how this conversation has some sort of a practicality, not some sort, quite a big practicality to it. And these are not just intellectual conversations and abstraction, which is good, just more or less just poetic in nature. But I think I'm starting to get the picture how assessment of when somebody has some sort of a problem, how to assess, and then what to correct. It's right there in this conversation. I do not want to over expand on this, but for people who have been listening would actually understand this thing, that diseases, health, and how to figure out what's the problem and with what organ, these are very connected, and you've kind of made it quite clear actually without openly speaking about it. Um, I mean, there is so much right now that I'm fascinated with, but I really want you to, once you've completed the rest of the chakras, maybe that's when I'll start throwing questions in, and I believe people who are watching us live or watch it recorded later would also have some questions. So I'll hold on to my questions till then, and
Okay.
I think we should continue
And-
about
and
the other chakras later on in an episode. So it gives people time to digest two at a time, um, because this is very fascinating. If you want to conclude this, please go ahead.
Well, I have to say other things that people have been observing the chakras for in multiple ways. They're multi-dimensional. So like the seven colors of the rainbow, each chakra has seven parts which make a whole. So there is also correspondence between each chakra and what we project outwards. For example, the earth chakra is red in color and perhaps projects things like the red color itself out into the universe in an abstract kind of a way. And the water chakra is orange, and the sun chakra is yellow, and so on and so forth, right?
Wow.
So the seven musical notes also correspond with each
Ooh.
chakra. The seven universes that mystics talk about correspond with each chakra. And so the correspondences go much further than our discussion requires. But yeah, so for today, I'd like to sum it up for today's discussion, that the material physical aspect of the universe that we are experiencing is being generated through our earth chakra, and our emotional reactions to the universe are being generated through our water chakra. And perhaps I can make a bold statement here, Gibran, a funny. Well, there's humor in the universe and its creation. That if a diamond is carbon based, if a piece of coal is carbon based, and we are also carbon based, then God has a great sense of humor, and the divine is going through certain emotions. So he's taking the same material, carbon, and
Wow.
making it one of the hardest substances in the world, and showing us the emotion of hardness over there. And then he has another emotion for coal, and another emotion for the human form, right? And they're all carbon based, and they're all being influenced by the divine emotions and turning into other things.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. But like I said, none of this is to be taken too literally. These are metaphorical terms, and they're going to help us build a vocabulary for the unseen. And because we are going to end up talking about more and more abstract things, so we need a foundation to be able to do that.
I don't see these as metaphors only. Frankly, I mean it just kind of these ideas just kind of blew my mind, frankly. It's
Thank you.
God's emotions through these various chakras in creation of different things with the same substance
That's
or
right.
same element.
That's
Wow.
that's right.
For those who,
So
who want to understand the power of emotions, that's the statement, I guess.
so both things are happening, huh? The divine is controlling creation in the universe, but outside our bodies, but also through us. I mean, it's a great honor our participation in the creation of our reality. It's um, it's it's fantastic.
We are yet to speak about that in detail, and I'm sure you have plenty of things. The whole idea of this episode was to give an introduction about the chakras and to learn that language, so once we get into the real conversations, you are more familiar and acquainted with these terminologies and what they represent, and they represent quite a heavy detail of things. I think, Sam, I think it's gotten heavy on me, so I don't know about the other people watching, but I think we should take a break here and do couple of more episodes on chakras, and once we finish, that's when we start exploring the whole idea and the concept of the universe and the creation and the interconnection between man and the universe. What do you say?
Or yes, I think that's great, Jabran. And unfortunately, there's no sensible linear way of having this conversation. So we'll be going back and forth
True.
throughout, when we discuss these things.
Well, thank you for being with us. Thank you for that insightful information. And it was really something that really got me thinking. And these conversations do open up perspectives and open up your mind to ideas. And these ideas can really impact your life in a way, in your daily life, from how you think, your psychology, your health above everything else. This is why there is a functional and an or application to all these conversations. These are not just conversations for fun or in thin air. They actually have a direct impact if we understand. So, well, thank you guys for being with us, watching it live, and for those who haven't, can watch the recordings. You can post your questions in the comments, or you can also go in the community tab and mention the topics that you would like us to talk about. Sam, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to have you,
My pleasure.
and I hope to catch up with you very soon. Till then, you take care.
Sounds good.